Good morning, Zambia. Good morning, President Hichilema. Good morning, Cyril Ramaphosa and former President Zuma, and also EFF leader Julius Malema, also Kasonde Mwenda, EFF leader of Zambia. I always want to add former President Barack Obama and Donald Trump. These people that I'm referring to, they are within the reach of these books that I've written. And they are the main players in the Central Africa to call for a United States of Africa under President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. There are a lot of things that I want to allude to, but I want to say the major thing that has led me to think of addressing the issue of the burial of the late President Kalunga. I want to say that when I wrote this open letter, this is the 11th volume to President Hichilema. So this volume, Life or Death, when I saw Kalunga with sores all over his body, I already knew that he's a dead man, though walking. But my efforts to rescue him have never yielded any fruits. Today, I have only one option: to rescue the family of the late Kalunga to God. I know to say the family is at crossroad with the government. But the way I had to put on this picture, the holding hands with the HH and the former president, who is now late Kalunga, was a good sign to reconciliation. But alas, what was in their hearts is being exposed now when he has died. The family of Kalunga must put it to their mind that when they dead, according to Christ's words, they are dead. When one dies, he's dead. Nothing is controlled by him. If we know for sure that the dead, they think nothing, I pray that may they reconcile with Hichilema, because this reconciliation may build the first stone for President Hichilema to unite the nation, which was revealed to me that there will be no king, there will be no president to unite the nation. There will be no one to be respected. I can see that the respect that is tried to be controlled using cyber law is running out of hand. We are seeing Togo on the streets. They are rising against the regime that has been leading them for a long time, despite being killed by guns, they are still on the street protesting. There is always an amount of oppression that can be a threat to people. But there are times when people rise, even amidst cyber law, even amidst the threats. The Mzungu wako Komboni, white man broadcasting threats against those who are speaking their opinions regarding the Freemason is a sign that my president, Hakainde Hichilema, is in the hands of the imperialists, the colonial masters. I say this out of love. We do not need a white person to threaten us. Is actually raising anger towards us, is not uniting us. If Hakainde Hichilema, you have an opportunity to listen this carefully. Don't ever allow people like that white man threatening everyone, putting that wanted. Wanted by who? Who is Hakainde Hichilema who cannot be criticized? Who is Hakainde Hichilema who cannot be told the truth on his face? If Hakainde Hichilema, you want to build a legacy using that white man, threatening people, threatening Facebook bloggers, you are taking it at a wrong, you are taking that wrong direction. Secondly, I've been asking you to disassociate yourself from Sia1, the Nigerian prophet, who has become also having his mouth diarrhea of false prophets. And he is a speaker for your government. I'm saying this because I'm heartbroken. It has been long that God has been pleading for Zambia through these books, through letters. This is what I wrote in this book. I have evidence that I saved this book, the 12 volumes of these books. I'm aid to save this one, Ibrahim Traoré and the 54 prime ministers. The roadmap to economical slavery. So, but I want to say, when you listen to what I wrote in this volume 11 of the open letter to you, you must take this advice very serious. Forward on page 5, Roman numerals. His Excellency, the Seventh-day Adventist Church Elder, God has set life or death in your leadership. Yes, people die every day and everywhere, but there is death that is as a result of God's punishment for not getting his word of instruction, and that comes as a result of being aged. I agree that death happens every day, everywhere. But there is a certain death that comes when we still need someone's service. All the deaths of the 6th president, I want to say these presidents are dead because of refusing to get God's instruction. I want to say that it is good that you took a step to stop the burial of the late President Kalunga. And it is good that you have opted to have discussion outside court. It is good that you are heading the right direction, but don't miss a point. Stop Siawan speaking about your programs and your achievements, because whatever Siawan speaks is just political mere polishing of your image. Come to the senses that God wants you to be humble, accept where you have failed, and progress of what you have done that is good. Stop also the Mzungu Komboni work whatsoever, because that is painting you to be aggressive, painting you to use the law as a means of your protection instead of using love and forgiveness and mercy. We have presidents like a very strong president like Cyril Ramaphosa here in Africa. They insult this man every day. They insult him in parliament every day, and it's broadcasted everywhere. But he doesn't use the law the way you want to use the law against everyone. Today, we are hearing of this why me, that he was abducted, perhaps tortured, and dead, is missing. Many other stories that are happening in Zambia of people missing, which you be the one answerable over such deaths, because you are the government that is tolerating the use of law wrongly. When you ask for democracy, you are asking to be insulted. And your only way to do is to be humble. Let people judge who is right. Because when you silence people, you are actually digging your grave to leave power quickly with a bad name. Let me continue to say, in this forward, I said, the most urgent question is based on the truth that the disciples died because religious leaders misrepresented their message to political leaders. The same thing that was happening when Jesus Christ was crucified for telling the truth. Also, the disciples died. They were killed one by one because of telling the truth. The religious leaders were misrepresenting their gospel about salvation by grace and in Jesus Christ's name. The old religious system was rejecting reformation from sacrificing lambs to acceptance of Jesus Christ as the true lamb that died for us. Even today, they are still offering lambs in Jerusalem for their forgiveness of sins. Even today, the system is there. They are still believing that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, is not yet born. He shall still come. So, even today, there are people that don't want to reform as long as they are benefiting from the system. They'll continue holding on lies. If UPND is one of the system that does not want to reform and embrace Ibrahim Traoré, Julius Malema, Mwenda, all these EF leaders who are calling for united Africa, UPND will be buried in history without anything to remember you. Here we go. I said, why should I face persecution and death for preaching what UN Charter enshrined as my rights to freedom of worship and freedom of speech. I'm in exile, not because I want to be in exile, but because the first government, Dr. Kalunga, when he received this message, the SDA church went and misrepresented my calling, branding me as a false prophet, branding me as a person that needed money, branded me as a person who wants to bring a new system, because visions and dreams ended with Ellen G. White. Very shameful. Chiluba rejected. He caused me to be arrested for telling him to say, Chiluba, they will arrest you. I was talking things that were not yet foretold. Mwanawasa could not allow me to come near him through his people that were surrounding him. But the wife confirmed. I'm not aware of the whereabouts of the wife. If she's around, you can ask her. If she died, may her soul rest in peace. What I want to say is that the UN enshrined the rights of positive criticism, the right to speak our opinion on religious issues, our opinion on politics, why our lives are threatened, why everyone else in Zambia must be scampering for his life. I don't know whether Emmanuel Mwamba is also in exile. If he's in exile, he must also remember how he treated me as a suspect against Chiluba. And today there are other people in UPND who are treating me as an enemy to you, Hakainde Hichilema. I want to assure them to say they'll also go to exile if they don't listen God's word. These things, they are written not for me to go and change my statement. They are written for a witness because they were inspired. On my paragraph 3, I said, God is saying to you, the 7th Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema, that you are carrying 7 sins of Zambian leadership for you and the 6 past heads of state. Imagine, I simply wrote that the 6 past heads of state before Ed Kalunga was announced dead. I'd already put him on the state of the past 6 heads of state. This is what annoyed Kristen Kaseva, President Sata's wife, when I said, you are a widow. Says, she called me. Why are you calling me a widow? Who told you that Sata is dead? I said, no, I don't need to see him dead. I need to confirm what God has revealed to me. You are a widow. Despite it took 2 years, because Sata, they were trying to help him live beyond his time. I remember there's a photo that I also shared on my Facebook where I saw Kristen Kaseva with a big smile carrying very fragile Michael Sata into parliament. I said, why wasting your time? Why fighting with God? Today, when I said Ed Kalunga will face the same way, the PF was still carrying the plan B. Fragile Lungu into politics. Fragile Lungu into politics. Today, it is very shameful. A lot of people have spoke very negative to fight a dead man because he has been carried into politics. It's the power of politics. I remember mentioning before the announcement of this death, I want to repeat what I said. I said on my post, I said, why are you blocking Lungu to stand? Because even on his deathbed, he can still win the elections. That shows that the people loved Lungu despite being beaten, despite that cruelty, but they had food on their tables. But today they are walking freely in the street, in the bus station. There's no food in their tables. That's the reason why they are angry with UPND president. I want to believe that you are listening to me, Hakainde Hichilema. I want to believe that even the people that you have assigned to follow me on social media, they are listening. And they are not going to misrepresent my words. You are carrying the 7 sins of the 7 leaderships. What are those sins? Of rejecting God's warning, of rejecting the ministry of God, of protecting the ministry of God, this ministry of visions and revelations, because I can stand anywhere in the courts of law. If you can prove to me, to say the books that I've written to you, they have lies, and show me one by one which vision that I wrote to President Kalunga, to Chiluba, to Manawasa, to Lupia Banda, to Lungu, to Sata, and Lungu, which are false. Just point one vision that is false. Because where there was a change in your delay of coming into power, I kept on updating you by letters. When I was in exile, I kept on updating you on my Facebook. And my other Facebook has been blocked because that's the Facebook that I had a lot of updates towards your leadership. I have no access to that Facebook. I have no access to my emails. Everything is blocked because of preaching the gospel. Even this current email, they wanted to destroy all these books, that destroyed them completely. But because God gave me wisdom to preserve them, I have them. I even have access to a person who I found on my Facebook, a person who is with you in your government. I know is your intelligence officer. I once posted his picture. I'll repost his picture. When I went into his Facebook, I said, how come this person is the one logged on my Facebook? How come? When I followed him, I find him with you posing in many other pictures. Then I realized that it's HH that is hunting my Facebook. I'm appealing to you to say, I'm not your enemy. I'm a messenger. This word written in this book shall stand as a witness. What did I say? God requires you to sign 7 covenants to protect God's ministry. Why should you sign 7 covenants to protect God's ministry? It is because you are the witness, the living witness of everything that I spoke, starting from Dr. Kenneth Kaunda whilst he was alive, Chiluba before he died, Manawasa before he died, Lupia Banda before he died, Michael Sata before he died, Lungu before he died. You are the witness, because the letters I was writing to these leaders before they died, you were copied. There's no letter that I wrote from 2007. Every letter that I wrote to a president who was sitting, I was copying to you, and I was delivering that at your doorstep. You You lived next to Chiluba. 12A Chiluba, 12B Hakainde Hichilema. I was knocking these two doors. I was delivering the letters at the same time, warning you about these deaths. And today, if you close your ear, because you are standing in between life and death, from the same people who are trying to report protecting you, they are not protecting you. AFRICOM is not protecting you. God can demolish all those protections that they are putting, they are assuring you. God can bring you to nothing. Even in the midst of the highest caliber of doctors, you cannot survive the hand of God. You can only survive if you manage to lower yourself. I said, go to the family of Lungu, the widow, and plead for forgiveness for mistreating Lungu. Then you came on the, say, people, they forget how this Lungu mistreated me. I was arrested so many times, but now I never arrested Lungu. I never did what? You never arrested Lungu. You arrested Lungu. How? Arresting the wife to Lungu. It was a direct arrest to him. Indirect, but direct. How can you ask Lungu's wife to account for the buildings? How can you ask Lungu to say she has stolen the car and break the gate and think that you are not tormenting the former president? I agree that he mistreated you for overtaking him on his motorcade when you are going to Western Province for campaigns. In fact, though you were charged for treason, it was also a disrespect for you to overtake the president. You are not yet a president, you are just an opposition leader, a common person. Even your arrest, it was the only means that led you to go to be a president. If you are not arrested so many times, you are not going to have that sympathy vote, because you had not yet made an agreement with God. Even today, you are still refusing to have an agreement with God. Perhaps you may understand. Let me read my second statement. Maybe I would go to paragraph 4 as I close. This will be your leadership. Yeah, God requires you to sign 7 accounts to protect God's ministry. This will be your leadership ephod to avoid imprisonment and death as a sitting president in your blind quest to save the nation from donor slavery. Why did I say a blind quest? You promised Zambia that once you win, before sunset, Kwacha will gain. It never gained. You promised Zambia that when you win, you are going to lower the prices of maize meal to 30 kwacha, to where it was, or less, or maybe to 50 kwacha. Recently, few months ago, that's when, in this 4th year, that's when you said, no, milli meal has to be reduced to 150 and to 50 kwacha. I don't know whether 150 or to 50 kwacha and 130. And fuel was reduced. To me, I said, those reductions, they are baseless, because there's no economical, there's no economical improvements. So I was actually saying, when you have reduced like this, they are just government subsidies or subsidies, which, when you win the election, the maize meal will raise again. The same way, when it's towards election, we have no load shedding. after election, there's load sheddings. So I want to appeal to you to say, God requires you to sign agreements of protecting God's ministry. The first step that you have to achieve is to have peace between you and the widow. It must be publicly said. All the political leaders who are answering to fictitious allegations of corruption funded by donor aid EU must be written off. Against the former First Lady Esther Lungu and the family and all other opposition leaders, they must be written off as a sign of national reconciliation. Failure to do that, you are not winning before God. Let the nation realize that reconciliation is more than the fight against corruption, which is funded by donor countries. Let police officers arrest people based on evidence. Secondly, call for a united nation, for a United States of Africa under Ibrahim Traoré. Join Ghana. Botswana is also trying to put its guns in place by controlling mines. Try also other countries that are changing towards the United States of Africa. That will heal Zambia. And Zambia will not forget you, because natural resources, they can resolve all the pressure of hatred and fightings and insults which are dragged against you, Hakainde Hichilema. I hope and believe you have understood and listened. Amen.